I ruined my sister-in-law's life in under 7 minutes, in front of our entire family, at my parents' anniversary party. And the best part? She never even saw it coming. I was standing by the dessert table at my parents' 40th wedding anniversary party when I saw the look on Melissa's face. It was the same look she always wore when she thought she had already won. That smug little half smile, chin slightly lifted, eyes darting toward me like she was waiting to see if I'd notice her little victory. The only difference tonight was that I was the one who had set the stage, and she didn't realize that in about 30 seconds, that look would be gone for good. My brother was on the other side of the room, completely oblivious, chatting with our uncle about fishing trips. My parents were sitting at the head table, holding hands, glowing under the soft string lights. Cousins were laughing. Kids were running around in their little dress shoes. And in the middle of it all, Melissa was about to find out that her carefully curated image, the one she'd been building at my expense for the last 5 years, was about to shatter in front of everyone. But I guess I should back up. When my brother Matt brought Melissa home for the first time, I didn't dislike her. She was bubbly, confident, and she made a point of acting interested in everything I said. Too interested, actually, but I told myself I was just being cynical. I'd just gotten out of a long, messy breakup at the time, and maybe I was projecting. She laughed too hard at my jokes, asked questions that were just a little too personal, and somehow by the end of the evening, she had convinced my mom to give her a tour of the whole house while Matt and I were in the kitchen. I didn't think much of it until I heard her later in the hallway, telling my mom how nice it must be that Matt helps me so much, since I always seem so busy and stressed. It was subtle, but that's Melissa's specialty. She never came at me directly. At least, not where anyone could see. She planted little seeds of doubt about me in the family's mind, always wrapped in faux concern. Oh, I'm sure she didn't mean it that way, she's just tired. Or maybe she's overwhelmed, you know how she takes on too much. At first, I brushed it off. But then the story started changing. A conversation I barely remembered became a tale about me snapping at her. A shared family project became something she had to fix after I messed it up. Over time, people started treating me differently. My mom would check in on me with this cautious tone, like she was afraid I'd break down at any second. My dad started making helpful suggestions about how I could be more organized. Even Matt would sometimes give me these looks when I spoke, like he was bracing for me to say something embarrassing. I couldn't prove it, but I knew Melissa was behind it. The turning point came 2 years ago. My parents were planning their retirement party, and I'd volunteered to handle the slideshow. Years of family photos, old home videos, the whole deal. It was a big job, but I wanted to do it for them. A week before the party, I came down with the flu. I still worked on it in bed, pulling photos and clips, but I was slower than I'd hoped. Melissa offered to help by organizing the files. By the day of the party, I felt like death but managed to get there early to set everything up. When the slideshow started, I realized half the photos were missing, and in their place were funny shots of me from over the years, all of them unflattering. Me mid-blink, me with food in my mouth, me looking exhausted after work. And Melissa had added little captions. Classic Sarah. Always in a rush. Everyone laughed, and I laughed too, but inside I was humiliated. When I confronted her afterward, she gave me that wide-eyed, innocent look. Oh my god, I didn't think you'd take it that way. I thought it would be relatable and fun. You can be so sensitive sometimes. And just like that, I was the killjoy for not getting the joke. After that, I started paying attention. Melissa was always in the middle of everything. Family projects, events, decisions. But somehow, she never took responsibility when things went wrong. If food ran out at a party, it was because Sarah didn't bring enough. If a group gift arrived late, Sarah must have missed the order deadline. And every time she made it sound like she was defending me. I'm sure it wasn't her fault, but I decided I wasn't going to just sit there anymore. I started quietly collecting things. Screenshots of texts where she threw me under the bus. Emails where she took credit for my work. Notes from conversations where she accidentally told someone a half-truth that made me look bad. I didn't know yet what I'd do with it, but I knew I wanted the truth out in the open, where she couldn't twist it. The perfect opportunity came when my parents announced their anniversary party. Big venue, extended family, friends from church, even some of Dad's old co-workers. Melissa immediately volunteered to coordinate, which I knew meant she'd use the event to cement her place as the golden daughter-in-law. Sure enough, within weeks, she was bragging about how much work she was doing, how Matt was too busy, and I hadn't really offered to help. What she didn't know was that I'd already volunteered to handle the memory table. A big display of photos, mementos, and messages from loved ones. She was too busy with the caterer and decorations to pay attention to what I was working on. In the months leading up to the party, I made my own slideshow. Not the cutesy, embarrassing kind she'd made of me, but a compilation of moments that showed exactly who Melissa was. Clips of her taking credit for other people's work in group videos. Screenshots of her messages bad-mouthing me and even Matt to different relatives. Recordings, yes, recordings. She never noticed my phone on the table, of her joking about how she could get my parents to believe anything she said. I didn't need to narrate it. The evidence spoke for itself. And at the end, I added a short montage of my own, not of her, but of the times I'd fixed her mistakes, covered for her, or quietly stepped back so she could have the spotlight. The night of the party, I waited until after dinner, when people were relaxed and full, and Melissa was basking in the compliments about the decor. I stepped up to the microphone, smiling like I was about to give a toast. I put together something special for Mom and Dad, I said, and the room went quiet. The lights dimmed, and my slideshow began. At first, it was normal. Old photos of my parents, sweet messages from friends. Then the clip started. Melissa laughing in a kitchen saying, if Sarah takes credit for this, I'll just tell Mom she dropped the ball again. A screenshot of a text to my cousin, I know she's your friend, but honestly, Sarah's so lazy. I always have to fix her mess. Her voice in another recording, Matt's parents adore me. I could tell them Sarah robbed a bank and they'd believe me. The room got quieter and quieter. People shifted in their seats. My mom's face went pale. Matt's jaw tightened. By the time it ended, the only sound was the faint clink of someone setting down their glass. I stepped back from the mic, thanked everyone for celebrating our parents, and walked away. Melissa was frozen, her smile gone, eyes darting like she was searching for a lifeline. She tried to speak, something about inside jokes and being taken out of context, but no one was buying it. My mom excused herself from the table. My dad wouldn't look at her. Matt looked like he'd been punched. And me? I went to the dessert table and cut myself a big slice of cake. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I've gotten texts from half the family. Some apologizing for believing her, some asking for more details, some just saying they had no idea. Matt hasn't called me yet, but I know he will. And Melissa? She's been silent, but I saw her car parked outside my parents' house this morning. I don't know if she's trying to fix things or if she's doubling down, but I do know one thing. The next time I see her, she won't have that smug little smile anymore. And that was only part 1. Melissa didn't speak to me at the party after the slideshow. Not one word. She spent the rest of the night glued to Matt, whispering in his ear, her face cycling between pale and flushed like she was debating whether to fight or flee. I didn't care either way. My work was done. The morning after, my phone started blowing up. First it was my cousin. OMG Sarah, I can't believe you had all that. I'm so sorry I believed her over you. Then my aunt. We were wrong about you. She's awful. Even my dad sent me a simple, I'm proud of you. Love, Dad. Melissa, meanwhile, went on a frantic damage control tour. She called my mom, apparently crying so hard she could barely talk, insisting it was all a misunderstanding and that jokes had been taken out of context. My mom shut her down. Melissa, that wasn't a joke. That was cruelty. And it's been going on for years. I only know this because my mom called me afterward to tell me she didn't believe a word Melissa said. Then came the texts from Matt. They started cautious. Can we talk? And quickly shifted into defensive territory. You didn't have to humiliate her like that. I sent him one reply. Matt, I protected you for years from knowing how she spoke about you. If you still don't see it after watching that, then you don't want to see it. For the next week, Melissa kept trying to spin her narrative. She posted a Facebook status about false accusations and betrayal within the family. Without naming me, of course, but everyone knew. The comment section was brutal. Our relatives weren't buying it, and a few even called her out directly. We saw the video, Melissa. Stop lying. By the second week, Matt stopped defending her publicly. He came over one evening without her. We sat on my porch for over an hour, and I watched the realization settle in on his face like something heavy he couldn't set down. He admitted she'd been controlling, manipulative, and in his words, hell-bent on making sure she looked better than you, no matter what it took. I didn't rub it in. I just told him I was sorry he had to see it this way. Melissa's last big attempt at reclaiming her image was an apology dinner. She invited my parents, Matt, and me to a fancy restaurant. I didn't want to go, but my parents convinced me. We showed up, and she launched into a speech about how misunderstandings had gotten out of hand, and how she never meant to hurt anyone. She never actually admitted to doing anything wrong, just framed it as me being sensitive and people misinterpreting her words. That's when my mom, bless her, leaned forward and said, Melissa, the only misunderstanding here is you thinking anyone in this family is going to tolerate you treating Sarah like garbage ever again. My dad nodded. Matt stayed silent. I just smiled into my water glass. After that, the invitation stopped. Melissa started skipping family gatherings, or showing up late and leaving early. Matt still comes around, sometimes alone, sometimes with her, but the dynamic has shifted completely. She can't charm the room anymore. Not when half the people there have receipts burned into their memory. And me? I didn't just get my reputation back. I got my voice back. People stop me now to ask my opinion, to include me in decisions. The shadow Melissa cast over me for years is gone. As for her, well, she's still married to my brother. But the pedestal she stood on has crumbled, and every time I see her at a family event, I catch that flicker in her eyes, the knowledge that I could have destroyed her worse, but chose to stop where I did. And honestly, that's the sweetest revenge of all. That's it. Years of her digs and manipulation undone in a single night. I got my place, and my peace, back. She lost her power. Some call it petty. I call it justice.